Good afternoon and welcome to Have a Chat. I'm Audrey Lynch with my lovely co-host Judy Loge. Thank you for tuning in to Have a Chat.
Welcome on this beautiful Monday.
Yes, the sun is shining. The air is cool and crisp, but it's a beautiful, beautiful day out.
Perfect fall day.
Yes, it is, definitely. We have got a really, really great show lined up for you today. You're not going to want to miss this. Two lovely ladies we have for guests to talk about something very, very important. So you're not going to want to miss that. So definitely stay tuned for that. We're going to start off our show like we always do with our quote of the day. And Judy, you have something all lined up for us. What was it that you wanted to tell us?
I went with this one. Excess on occasion is exhilarating. It prevents moderation from requiring the deadening effect of a habit. By W. Somerset Maugham. What do you think of that now? What are your thoughts?
After this weekend, after this weekend for me personally, I have to agree with that for sure.
Yes, excess on occasion is exhilarating.
It was. It was very, very much
basically, we do things routinely a lot of the time. We do our things from Monday to the following Sunday, and then we start all over again. We have our little patterns and our little family traits and gatherings and personal.
They can become very habitual.
Yes, totally. Right? But sometimes there's a big event or a big occasion to celebrate, and it's exhilarating, and it kind of changes your life and leaves you with something memorable, you know, as we're going to each talk about momentarily.
Yes.
Because people do sometimes fall into that pattern and things do become stagnated.
Yes.
And you need that something to look forward to or take part in to juice up your life a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Whether it's a trip or whether it's an event
family
or whether
gathering.
Yeah, exactly. So to go a little overboard or in excess with, you know, a gift or with having great food or being, you know, traveling a little ways.
Buy something big for yourself, treat yourself to something that you normally wouldn't and just go out and do it. It can give you that moment of, oh, this feels so much fun.
Exactly. Well, the everyday stuff, you know, it gives you something to work, you know, it seems like, oh, okay, so that was all worth it. The same thing, the habitual stuff, it made it all worth it to be able to have this little, you know,
celebration.
Exactly.
Or excessive moment.
Yes, exactly.
Well, my excessive moment for the weekend was that, as many of my family that were able to attend my sister Jennifer's wedding did so. Yes. So we had a lot of my family, most of them, go to Toronto for Jennifer and Matt's wedding on October 13th.
Right.
And it was fabulous. I mean, we've been looking forward to this. They've been together for a long time. They've been a very steady, very tight couple, but they wanted to go the extra step. And they wanted to tie the knot and make it official, and they did, Audrey, such a beautiful job on their wedding day as far as their vows were special. Their attire was amazing. Their guests were all from all over the place. So one of her bridesmaids was from Malaysia, flew all the way from Malaysia.
Oh, wow.
One of his attendants came from the United Kingdom. They were there from Calgary. They were there from everywhere.
Exactly.
And her dress was amazing. It was just her. You know how we all have our own taste?
Yep, that's right.
It was designed in New Zealand. It was rue de Seine. It was fabulous. And I just had such a glorious day. And my mother's speech was very heartwarming. My mom had her later on in life. In her 40s.
Right.
So she says, oh, was I mistaken?
Is she the baby?
She's the baby by a long shot.
Okay.
And such a gift and such a surprise to our family that this was a very emotional time for us. She's the last one to get married.
Okay.
And Matt's family were all there. And like, so there we celebrated and we danced.
In excess.
We ate in excess. We ate, and I kind of drank in excess. And I don't mean like to the point where I had way too much, but I don't normally drink much at all. So I had champagne and I had wine and I danced and I had a complete ball. And I want to congratulate Matthew and Jennifer Walker.
Well, you wanted to help them celebrate.
So much fun.
Exactly.
So then back to reality. So I did my excessive stuff all weekend.
Perfect. Exactly. Well, I went a little overboard as well. If there's anybody who's been following me and watching me with my little goal and progress with looking to compete as a bikini competitor in some upcoming contests that were coming up. This past weekend actually was my first contest. I actually set my goal for the 27th of October where the St. John Fall Classic is happening. But my trainer felt that I was ready, and we entered into the New Brunswick. Actually, I'm going to make sure I get it right. The New Brunswick, the Natural Championships, the CPA. So that's the Canadian a physique alliance. And so I went ahead and entered that one, and I entered the category of Grand Masters, which is for women 45 and up in a bikini.
You rocked it.
It was very nerve-wracking, but so exhilarating at the same time. The girls backstage, we were all prepping, we were all laughing and talking and enjoying each other's company, and just there was such a camaraderie, regardless of what category you were in. Even the girls that I became friends with in my own category, you know what I mean? We were so thrilled for each other and complimenting each other and helping each other with our outfits and putting ourselves together.
Promoting one another.
Yeah, definitely. And I came home with a silver medal. I came in second out of 6 women.
It's as big as my head.
It's actually a little heavy. It's a little heavy. And I just want to say thank you so much to my trainer, Brandy Donald, who's been sticking it out with me. She herself competed this weekend and did amazing. Brought home a lot of hardware herself.
She did. Congratulations,
She
Brandy.
really did. And now she's gearing up for me and helping me do the bigger one. That not bigger necessarily, but this one here is put on by a different organization. And like I said, it's called the St. John Fall Classic. And I'm going to see if I can't swing a little more hardware and bring home.
A big congratulations to Audrey.
So much.
It brings tears to my eyes because I've watched you go from saying, I want to do this, to the whole journey you've done. And like I said before, I'll repeat myself, in January, you set your goal. You said, I want to be better. I want to be stronger. I want to be more physically able. And not only were you more physically able, look what you've accomplished.
I know.
You looked amazing.
If nothing else, I just want to say thanks to everyone who going to make me cry.
Don't cry because you know what? You're tired. It's been a long run.
It is. This is not even 48 hours ago.
I know, and all the change in food and all the change in workout and being a mother of 4 children and housework and owning your own salon, and yet you put Audrey for a change kind of in the front, not necessarily letting other people, get lost, but you took care of yourself and you reached your goal, and I'm so proud of you.
Pretty proud.
And you should be emotional because it's a very high point in your life that you're able to do that and do. You did such a great job.
Exactly.
A winner, a total winner.
I know. Thanks.
So don't cry. Let's change the subject. I cried all weekend at the wedding.
Okay. So now I can't see my paperwork. Where are we?
Well,
Veronique's birthday.
Happy birthday,
Veronique. Happy birthday, Veronique. Yes, definitely.
Well, where is she out celebrating excessively right now?
Oh, I hope so.
No, she actually had to be engaged in workshops.
That's right.
This week,
That's why she's not with us today.
She'll celebrate later on. We'll celebrate her later on.
We'll definitely help her
do
that.
And my hubby, tomorrow, I know he wouldn't want me doing this, but it's his birthday.
Yes.
And I don't know when I'm going to get him, but anyway, I'll work on that. Just getting back from Toronto, I wasn't able to shop. It was all about the wedding, so we'll have to go out and get something for him. Yeah. Happy birthday, Vero, and happy birthday, Gerard.
Definitely. Tomorrow. So there's some other great things coming up here in Miramichi.
Yes.
The Chamber of Commerce Gala. It's a big deal. You've got all the details on that one.
Well, I have to MC that.
Okay.
It's another one of my duties. I MC Jennifer's wedding, so that took a lot of my energy because you want to be on for your sister's wedding, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I did that, and they were happy, but now I have to do this one this coming Thursday, October 18th. At Tyrus Infinity Center in Douglastown.
Okay.
They're hosting, the Chamber of Commerce is doing their gala, the 20th Business Award. So 20 years now since this was established.
Nice.
Just to go with those who have been selected this year, big congratulations. They will be honored on the evening of the 18th. The Newcomer Business Award, Mark Donnelly, Harvey's and Swiss Chalet.
Oh, yes.
He's a great guy. Business Award of Excellence is going to Jeff Cox, Grey Rock Construction Management.
Right.
Okay, that's awesome.
Congratulations.
The Employee of the Year is a lovely lady who's been there a long time with NBCC, Tammy Scott.
Okay.
Jerry Cormier Memorial Award is going to none other than Jim Gertrude.
Oh,
you know Jim?
Nice. Yes, I do.
Another great person, great choice. And last but not least, the President's Appreciation Award is going to Marie Ann Hashi this year. So tickets can be
Congratulations to all those winners, definitely.
Really great selection.
Enjoy your night. Yeah,
it will be fun. It will be fun. And there's still time to get tickets. They can be reserved through the Chamber by calling 622-5522. Again, 622-5522. Or email MIR Chamber, so M-I-R Chamber altogether, at nb.aibn.com. And no later than 5 o'clock on October 17th for tickets to go to that.
Yeah, for sure. Something else that's going to be happening, we're going to start off with, actually, I'll jump over this one and talk about October 17th is coming up, and marijuana is going to be legalized.
Well, there now.
As of that day.
Big shebang?
Yeah. I'm still on the fence.
A lot of people are.
Yeah. To see how it's going to go. I'm a little apprehensive on, you know.
Retailers are, police forces are, the general public are wondering how it's going to roll, no pun intended. They really are, because they've invested, I mean, what amount of $34.6 million federally allocated towards awareness on marijuana and educating has been set aside. There's been a lot of research done on this whole thing, and still people are wondering. And
I think there's too many variables to be able to figure out ahead of time what the potential outcome can be from all of this. I know, I'm trying to think if it was on the radio or where I was listening, just within the last 24 hours, it had to be in the car on a radio station, and they were talking about that one particular person, or their studies show that when it comes to exercise, that smoking a little pot before you work out, it can be beneficial. And I was just like, but must be under supervision or something. And I was just like, wow. I can't even imagine.
So on the 17th, you're as long as you're 19 years old, you can grow, you can possess.
See, now that's where I'm, it's one thing to, like the liquor store, you must be 19 and there's alcohol there. I still can't, you know, have a moonshine place going on in my backyard kind of thing.
Only 4 plants per household, Audrey. That's all we're allowed.
So when it comes to this, I have a bigger problem with allowing people, and I get that, and I believe that there is definitely scientific proof that it medically necessary and can be very, very, very beneficial. But, you know, allowing people to have that access right there at home, and I think it's a recipe for a lot of stuff.
The end of the criminal prohibition of marijuana, it's going to be a historic moment, right?
Yeah, it will be.
And also, another issue is the drug recognition experts. We have 883 trained experts for the oral fluid tests right now in Canada. And to me, that's way too low, but it's a lot higher than it's at least a good thing that we have that many. But in 5 years' time, they're hoping for 1,500 experts to be trained for the drug recognition test, to be given to see if there's THC when they're stopped and pulled over.
This has to do with vehicle.
Yes, when they're maybe suspecting that they're driving under the influence of drugs.
So there is a test that can be administered at this point. There is. Okay, I didn't know that that was.
Yes, we had Officer Goodfellow on their show one time, local drug expert recognition and expert, and he gave an overview. I don't think you were there at that point on the show. He's very well trained, and we have other members, at least 1 or 2 trained in this area, so we're doing good. But the goal is to have 1,500 in Canada over the next 5 years.
That's just
and we're at 883 right now.
I think it's going to be like, until things settle, how it's all going to go.
Yeah,
it's going to be very bumpy.
People have been smoking pot for years. I mean, this is nothing new. It's just going to change a lot of things, like you said, as far as accessibility and driving. Okay.
We'll see how that's all going to roll. So now over the weekend, you saw, not this past weekend, but you did get a chance to get out to the movies. Usually that's me, but I haven't had time for that in a while.
I've had to go. It was on my priority list.
But this is a movie I want to see, so don't spoil it for me.
I will say nothing about it except that you have to go to see A Star is Born.
Yes.
It was fabulous.
Was it?
I have great appreciation for Stephanie Germanotta, is her real name, Lady Gaga.
Yes.
Because of first of all, she's a raw talent, but most of all, she suffers physically and mentally. And I think the movie was so emotional for me, knowing how she came through it so beautifully and how she was so outstanding, given the fact that she suffers mental illness. She suffers daily basis mentally with depression and anxiety, and she has severe debilitating pain due to fibromyalgia. There are days that she has to just lay in her bed and have her body massaged while she cries.
Right.
She's 32 years old, and she was bullied in high school, and she thought, I want to be a star. I really want to do something with my life, and her story and how it's unfolded, and to where she's gotten today to be such first of all, an amazing voice,
right?
Cutting album after album and selling millions of songs worldwide. She's now a strong actor in the movie A Star Is Born, along with Bradley Cooper.
Yeah,
it's
definitely a movie I want to see. Now, did you see the original?
I did.
You did. Now, I'm under the impression that they're two different stories, though.
There was actually another one in the 30s or 40s.
Was there?
The one I saw was in the 70s, featuring Chris Christopherson and Barbra Streisand.
Barbra Streisand. Now, that's the one that I remember.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Was it? Yes. And that's the one it's been a while since I've seen it, but someone was telling me this storyline is different.
It is different, which is great, and it's original music that they chose and wrote.
Is it?
Bradley Cooper did a stellar job. Lady Gaga told him that if he wanted her to be in his movie, which he chose her to be, he selected her personally. She said, it's going to be live. It's not going to be lip syncing. We're not going to do this and you just mocking the words. You're going to learn how to sing. He had to take 1.5 years with voice lessons to try to cut it, and he did. He did an excellent job in the movie.
Oh, wow.
You're going to love it.
Oh, for goodness sakes. That is a movie that I've been looking forward to wanting to see for sure. A lot of people on Facebook are chit-chatting about it, that they've seen it, that they've loved it. So I'm really, really looking forward to being able to take the time, a little bit of time to be able to get out and see it.
Well, there's some true life stuff in that too, right? Because Bradley Cooper also, in his personal life, started out, with just a mediocre acting career. He did a business degree. He is educated. I think it was actually his degree was in English, and then he went on to pursue bigger and better things, but he went through personal issues himself as far as addiction went and other things that he can sort of relate to in this movie. So it's all tied together with some true stuff.
So now you were saying this is his movie. If he wanted Lady Gaga, is this something he produced?
He produced it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's in it as well. He's a beautiful man.
Yeah.
He looked really good. He kind of channeled Chris Christopherson a bit because his voice is not normally that deep.
Right.
And Chris Christopherson had that raspy, rugged, like rough guy. And he depicted him quite well, but he was his own guy.
Exactly. Okay, well, we are going to take a short break, and we'll be up with our next couple of guests that'll be joining us, so don't go away. We'll be back with more Have a Chat after the break. Hi, and welcome back to Have a Chat. Joining us now, we have two very, very, very special guests that we'd like to introduce to you. We have Melanie Maltby Ingersoll and Sarah Shared. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
It's a big day for you people to come on and share some information. Audrey's going to go with the topic for this afternoon.
Yeah. You ladies are here to talk to us about pregnancy loss and Infant Remembrance Day, which is actually today. And first off, though, we would like our viewers to get to know a little bit about you. If you could let us know about who you are. Sure. We'll start off with you, Melanie.
Okay. I'm Melanie Maltby Ingersoll, and I'm an educator with Anglophone North School District. I have a lovely husband named Sean and 3 daughters, Aiden, Phelan, and Kellen. And I also have 2 angel babies, Aaron and Seamus.
Okay.
Okay. And Sarah?
My name is Sarah Shared. I'm a chartered professional accountant here in Miramichi. I work at a local accounting firm. I'm married to my husband, Lucas. We've been married for about 4 years, and we have a lovely little dog named Baxter.
Baxter?
And I have 2 angel babies.
And on that note, people, Audrey and I do know, but for the viewers, can you talk about what you're saying when you're talking about angel babies? Right off.
Want me to go?
Sure. Go ahead.
So an angel baby is a baby that has either been lost during your pregnancy or after birth.
Okay. Yeah. In a nutshell, and you have one.
I have 2.
2 angel babies.
2, yeah. So in February of 2016, my husband Lucas and I, we had a stillborn baby boy. We named him Samuel Joseph Shared. We call him Sammy for short, is his nickname. I went in at 39 weeks in labor, 39 weeks, 5 days, expecting to come home with a baby boy. Or actually just a baby, because I didn't know what I was having at the time. Yeah.
Right.
And when I went in, they put me in to check for the heartbeat, and there wasn't one. So I had to go through 22 and a half hours of labor, and then eventually go for a cesarean section, and gave birth to our Sammy. He was
knowing all along that the final moment before your delivery that there was not going to be a healthy baby born, baby born at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable.
Yes. Yes. And then in July of 2017, my husband and I, we had a miscarriage at 8 weeks. So we have not had the best of luck on the pregnancy side, but we still love to talk about our babies, which is why I'm here today.
Of course you do, and
that's why we're here today, to talk about this very, very special day.
And with some of my friends that have gone through such an incredible loss, they either don't want to talk about it or they want to cherish the memories of their babies. They want to talk about that baby.
Exactly.
And make them live forever in your hearts and as if they're just here with us today. So it's beautiful that you're able to do that.
Yes.
So Melanie, you had a couple of experiences as well.
Yes. Fortunately, our first child was a nice pregnancy. So she's in grade 9 right now. She's almost 14. And then her name is Aiden. When Aiden was nearly 3 years old, I was pregnant. And about halfway through the pregnancy, I went for my 20-week ultrasound here in Miramichi. We had moved here at that time from Fredericton. My first daughter was born over there. So I went for my first ever ultrasound in Miramichi, and my husband didn't even come because it was, we've done this before, it's going to be fine. Basically, many problems were detected, but I was sent to Moncton to the maternal fetal care specialist over there the following week. So her name is Dr. Lynn Murphy-Callbeck, and she's amazing. I don't know if she would ever see the show, but she is amazing.
Oh, good.
So yes, the worst fears were confirmed when I had my ultrasound with her. So that baby, which was a girl, her name was Erin, she had trisomy 18, Edwards syndrome. So a baby with trisomy 18 is deemed incompatible with life, is the term that they use for that, the phrase. Erin was born at nearly 22 weeks. So she was still, and we were told it wouldn't happen again, so we got pregnant almost immediately, and 13 months later I had a little boy with trisomy 18. His name was Seamus, so Seamus lived an hour. So those were our angel babies. But
my first reaction is how unbelievably devastating is the word. When you were told that it would not happen again. Devastating the first time for you to lose a baby, and the second time, but unbelievable when they said it's going to be a normal pregnancy and everything will be fine.
Well, the best I guess they can estimate, because it could have been something else. It just wasn't suspected that I would have 2 babies in a row with trisomy 18, like that exact same syndrome.
Odds were just...
It was a 1 in 3 million.
Yeah, it was just crazy.
1 in 3 million?
No.
Is that a term that you're familiar with, trisomy 18?
No, actually, no, it's not. I myself, I have 4 beautiful children, and I too I would have 2 angel babies as well. During my pregnancy, I would have lost my first one before we had Brody, and then after Brody, I had gotten pregnant right away, and we had lost that one quite early. So the first one, it was, like you, had gone to my ultrasound. My husband didn't come. It was 3 months, and they're looking and looking and looking, and everybody's got quiet in the room. I had brought my mother to watch. This was back in the day, because my oldest boy is 25. We were video. They were running the video for it, and everybody got quiet, and and then we knew something was up then, and I had to go in, and they had to do a DNC or what it doesn't even register with me, and I can remember that didn't happen right away. I can remember leaving there and going straight to my doctor's office and taking the paperwork and opening the envelope in the car before I went in and reading at the top of the page, spontaneous abortion, and being devastated because I wasn't, because abortion to me was a deliberate thing, which I wasn't doing, right? So it was pretty hard, and I had to sit back and I had to wait 2 weeks knowing I was carrying a child that had passed.
And I did not know that about you.
Yes, and then wait to be hospitalized and then have things looked after. Mentally, it was really, really rough, and there was nothing out there for support groups. There was no, here, did you want to talk about it, or anything like that. And then we went on to have Brody, whose birth was a little complicated in the beginning, but we brought him home, and he was healthy after a little bit, but I miscarried shortly after him. So I'm absolutely thrilled that you ladies are here to talk to us today, specifically about this day, Pregnancy Loss and Infant Remembrance Day, and what this is all about. So what is the significance of this day?
Well, exactly what you're just saying right here. You're saying, I didn't even know this about you. Yeah. I feel like there's been, in the past, not so much these days, but in the past, there was almost like a stigma attached to it, or
you did something wrong.
The mother did something wrong. You know, what did you do? Did you fall down? What did you eat? You know, those types of things. And I mean, yes, there could be those things happening, but you know, it doesn't help to be asked those questions in those types of situations. So it's important that people first of all are aware of the day and of the month, in fact, because October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. Okay. But then also, hopefully, it opens up the door to have those conversations with somebody who may be looking to have that conversation and hasn't found that person yet, or that group, and knowing that you can and it's okay to talk about
someone
it.
Can relate to you.
Exactly.
Someone that's walked that walk, that's been in that horrible situation, that they can say, okay, now I know exactly what you've...
Healing to talk to other people about your story.
Yes.
Melanie and I had never met before we came to this show. Like before we were preparing for this show, we talked for an hour and a half on the phone the first night and 3 hours the next night.
Imagine.
Yeah.
The bond.
Yeah.
No.
And the one beautiful thing, if I can just jump into a positive, because we like to throw in the positives with all these sad things, is that you all have amazing partners.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And that would be so key going through something like that, because like I didn't go through that. So my husband was my rock during my pregnancy, and to deliver a healthy baby, it all came out beautiful. But if it had not have, I would have wanted that same person, my husband, to be there to help me through it and to be my lean on, because I would need him.
It's very important. But one thing that's interesting that we've discussed as well is men do not grieve the same way as we do. So that can sometimes lead to a bit of frustration.
Yeah, my husband, I think, felt a little bit helpless because he wasn't connected like I was. You know what I mean?
Already in your womb.
Exactly.
That's you were going to give birth. Yes.
So, you know what I mean? So he had a hard time consoling me or saying the right words.
And it's hard for them too, because there's really not much available for the men. That was something we were talking about earlier as well. It's more focused on the woman, on the mother, and not so much on the man. I think there are some resources out there now. It's getting better.
There are some, but like you said, most of the resources are for the woman, for the mom. It's very helpful, I found, after we lost Sammy, to go talk to somebody, especially as a couple, because like Melanie had said, men grieve differently than women. You know, I was crying and sobbing, and I was very expressive with my feelings. Whereas my husband, he would lay beside me and just sigh and sigh. And I was getting so angry, saying, "Well, are you just so bored? You don't want to lie with me and cry with me?"
But he was holding it in, grieving internally.
That was his way of grieving.
Tell us about the memory boxes, because there's something very special that you've brought with you today, and we wanted to touch on that.
Yeah.
And what they're all about.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And we'd have to know where they came from, too, these memory boxes.
That's Aaron. All right, well, I guess this is the oldest one. So I had Aaron in 2007 at Moncton City Hospital, and Seamus in 2008 also at Moncton City Hospital with Dr. Murphy Colbeck. So at that point in time, Miramichi did not have memory boxes. As such, I believe that they would give people like a little blanket that somebody had knit. Like if you had lost a little girl, maybe you got a pink blanket, or if you lost a little boy, you got a little blue blanket. But a memory box, I'll just open it up. There's nothing scary in here or anything.
It's beautiful, actually.
But they do your child's handprints and footprints. So my babies were very tiny because they were lost early.
Little print, imagine.
Yes. So I actually have one of each foot tattooed on my foot.
Isn't that beautiful?
Or one of each pair of feet, I should say. So yeah, I have. So these were Seamus's feet, and these were Aaron's feet.
That's just too priceless. The little tiny footprints, but like that you feel they're with you. This is it.
Exactly.
This is what it is. Is that you're able to hold this and feel your babies.
This is all you get.
This is all you
at
get,
the end
but
of the
they're
day,
like your baby.
It's very important to have it. And then these memory boxes, they're from a company in the States called Memories Unlimited, I think it's called. And I believe they cost somewhere between $30 to $40 per memory box. So hospitals, if they don't have them, that would be something you might be interested in having. And so they come with like a little outfit in it. that you can dress your baby. And so both my babies wore these outfits. They've never been washed. You know, that was something that was important. You know, you don't want to wash it. They had a little blanket.
And the hat.
Yeah, the little hat. It's just a place to keep everything that you had.
And the thing is I have those for my children that are alive today.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I did that for each one of them, right? So why would I not have those for...
So a group of us, sorry.
Does this make you really, it makes me really sad, it makes you happy. Like I get really sad looking at this. I almost feel, I can't empathize, but I feel a loss there looking at this.
With us, with me, maybe not so much with Melanie because she has living children, but with me, I love to talk about my Sammy because I don't get the opportunity to talk about him very often.
Right.
So this doesn't make me sad. It makes me...
fulfilled.
Yes, exactly.
It's a wonderful thing to have that comfort.
Yeah, yeah. Mine is a little bit... Mine's from the Miramichi Hospital.
Okay.
Right.
It's a little bit different, and my clothing isn't quite as small.
Oh,
No.
not big, actually.
This is what he came home in, and I'm the same. I never washed mine either.
I wouldn't.
The Miramichi Hospital provided, these were all handmade and provided to the hospital. And also my footprints, you'll see they're not in here because they didn't fit. I have them in my baby book, but they're quite a bit bigger. Yeah, I can get them out here.
You're going to cherish this for the rest of your lives. These are amazing.
Yes.
And one thing I'm so
because
happy
your
to
child
see
was
Sarah with hers because they were not in Miramichi. I had friends losing babies at the same time as I did in 2007, 2008 here in Miramichi.
Yeah.
And I was coming home with my memory boxes and they didn't have any. So this was an initiative that the hospital has taken on since 2000.
Because your baby was full term,
Yes.
correct?
Full
Yes.
term. Yeah.
So they
8 pounds, 2 ounces.
And all along there was no inclination of
I never
anything.
mentioned there was nothing throughout my whole pregnancy, and when I went in, there was no indication. Like I went in with labor pains, expecting to come home with a baby, and there just was no heartbeat. We sent him for an autopsy to see if we could figure out what was wrong. Nothing ever came back on that, so we have no answers as to why this happened. Yeah.
It's a pretty. You were letting us hold your teddy bear,
Yes.
and please bring that on set to show everybody and explain about this beautiful teddy bear.
This is something I found online on Facebook. It's an organization called Molly Bears. They're based in the States. It's a nonprofit organization. A woman similar to me had a stillborn baby, and she started it. Her daughter's name was Molly, hence the name Molly Bears. So there are volunteers all over the United States that hand make these bears, and they've all experienced losses themselves.
There's something special about these bears,
Something very special, very comforting, is the bears are made to weigh what your child weighed. So my bear weighs 8 pounds, 2 ounces.
That's a big baby.
Yes.
It is a big, healthy, you would expect to be healthy baby. Yeah. My firstborn, or one of my girls, was 8'8".
Yeah. And this was so comforting, you know, when it came in the mail and you could pick it up and he just feels like a little baby. And I pat his bum and it's just comfort. It's such a comfort,
And it says, Sarah, you are so precious to me.
Sweet as can be, Sammy of mine.
Sweet as can be, Sammy of mine.
Yeah. So it's based on the Dumbo song. Baby of mine.
Yes.
Right.
I practiced
so
that.
you can have that inscribed.
Yeah,
you can
so
have anything inscribed. You can custom make them.
I asked for it to be blue because we didn't know what we were having.
No.
So I knew he was a boy. I wanted this to be blue because everything else was green and yellow.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And Dumbo was important, but you know they come with hats on them. They come with everything. Yeah.
So I've never been through this. So how long? Well, first of all, Melanie, you had a little girl at the time that this happened to you.
Yes.
So you had to focus on that child along with your husband and give her the attention that's required for a mother to give. So it's different for you and Sarah each, right? But you were both working at the time, or you were both working on the time.
That's something important to touch on too. One thing I didn't know, I was just going to take sick leave when I lost the first baby. You know, these are things that you don't hear about. You don't talk about losing a baby with people usually. You talk about what maternity leave is going to be like after you have a baby.
Right.
So I had called the New Brunswick Teachers Association to cancel my maternity leave. The paperwork had already been done. Everything was ready to go. And I don't really remember the initial conversation. And it's funny because your brain is doing all sorts of weird things. And it probably wasn't the right time to be making that phone call, but I did. But once we hung up the phone, it wasn't too long, my phone rang back again, and a kind woman explained to me that I was still entitled to maternity leave benefits for 15 weeks.
Okay.
So something important to know.
That's
Otherwise,
good
I
to
would have
know.
just taken a couple of sick days and gone straight back to work, even though physically you're going through everything that a mother goes through when you give birth. your milk comes in.
That's just it.
All of that
exactly.
stuff.
There's a lot of physical things that go along with that. Well, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back and chat more with you ladies about a little bit more other things that are going on with this particular event and stuff like that in the subject matter. So don't go away. We'll be back with more Have a Chat after the break. And we're back with more Have a Chat. Still with us, our guests, Melanie and Sarah. We've been chatting with them a little bit about pregnancy loss and Infant Remembrance Day, which is today, and also the month of October. Actually, they celebrate the pregnancy loss and infant.
That's Awareness Month.
Awareness Month, exactly. That's just it.
So for anyone who's been listening, our next question now would be to follow right through with Melanie, who had a 3-year-old at the time of the loss of your first baby after Aiden. How do you tell a 3-year-old that's so excited, because they're so smart at that age and aware that you're not going to be bringing home that baby brother or sister?
Yes, yeah. It was definitely one of the first questions I asked at the hospital in Moncton. In Moncton, you are assigned a social worker, when you, and specifically a maternity social worker. There is a social worker in Miramichi. They will come visit you. I don't know if you got a visit or not.
We had a visit at the hospital, and then contact for mental health, or
Exactly. The great thing in Moncton is this lady, her name was Catherine Dean. I think Catherine knows this is happening today too. She's still there, and she is specifically for maternity patients, so it's a very targeted social worker, yes.
Exactly.
And one of my first questions to her was, how do I explain this to my 3-year-old? And she had said, honestly, but briefly, you wait for them to ask you the question, but then you answer truthfully. And so that was what we did. And the very first day, the first morning that I was home, Aiden would ask me every day, how's your baby today, Mom?
Oh.
And so finally I had to say that particular morning, I said, Mommy doesn't have a baby in her belly anymore, because she would always pat me on the belly. So then that leads to some interesting conversation.
Sure, it would change
at
the
that
whole
point.
picture.
I did make a bit of a mistake, I guess you could say, because I told her the baby was in heaven, and when she wanted to know where heaven was, I said it was way up in the sky. So she said, well, we've got to get on an airplane, we got to go get our baby.
That's precious.
So I learned that you say heaven is a place in your heart that you can visit any time and whatnot. Because she became obsessed with airplanes for a little while, and rockets and whatever it would take to get up into the sky.
There.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Catherine had also pointed out some resources to me, or had shared a website with me, so called Centering Corporation, and it's out of the States. So I was checking out their websites to see if, or their website to see if they were still online, if it was still operating, because these books now are over 10 years old, but they still do exist. This book is still there. No New Baby, this one is called, and this one's like $4.95. And this was a different organization called Grief Watch out of Oregon. So we were going to have a baby, but we had an angel instead. And this book still exists, and it's $8.95. So they're not crazy expensive, but they're just nice little stories that you can read to
and
the child.
to share with
their children,
siblings who have a brother or sister die before birth, and what to say and how to approach the whole thing, which is a very touchy, very overpowering subject for a little child to comprehend.
Yes, definitely.
But they're so innocent, and their minds don't work like us, right? If you just say it plainly, they won't they don't tend to ask more questions.
That's true, you know.
No, exactly.
Right? And maybe the next day they might have a question and you answer it, and then they go on with their day.
Secrecy is not the greatest thing. No, they try to pry things out of you. They're like, what do you mean? Tell me more. They're confused.
Yeah, exactly. Sarah, I want to ask you a question about cuddle cots.
Yes.
Now that's a term that's new to me today, and you're going to explain exactly what that is.
I'll explain it all to you. Okay. My husband and I, after we lost Sammy, we were looking for a way to cope and heal. And we really wanted to give back to other parents, other bereaved parents that would go through what we went through. So one of the biggest things in the hospital, and one of the biggest regrets that I had, was not keeping Sammy with me overnight in the room with me, which is an option.
Okay.
I was terrified that when I woke up in the morning, his body would have deteriorated to a point where I wouldn't want to remember him that way.
Right.
And it scared me. And I let them take him to the morgue because I was so scared of that. And the next morning, the nurses were great. They went back down and got him for me because I wasn't ready to say goodbye.
Oh, right.
But what we found through our research was there's a Cuddle cot available. You can order it through the UK.
Okay.
And what it is it's a machine that has a cooling mat that goes into the bassinet of the baby's bed at the hospital.
Okay.
So, you know, even your regular newborn baby that's living comes in this little bassinet, right? This fits inside it, and it keeps the baby's body cool. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, so
There we go.
That's you and Lucas.
that's me and my husband Luke. Yeah, that's when we donated it to the Miramichi Hospital. So we raised money, just around $4,000.
Wow.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Yeah.
Right.
To donate this to our hospital in Miramichi.
Good for you,
Yeah.
too.
And what it does is it allows the baby to stay in the room with the parents for days. I even seen online a week.
Okay.
Not being able to bring your baby home is awful, but being able to have more time with your child is so important in the grieving process, and that's what this gives parents.
And just for the lack of understanding, it keeps the infant cool, the body cool,
So
that it doesn't deteriorate.
Yeah,
Is that what
it kind of looks like a heating pad.
Preserves the
Okay.
baby.
And it
But
wraps
preserves,
around them.
okay.
Yeah, and it preserves them.
Yes.
Keeps
Okay.
them cool, so they don't have to go down to the morgue.
right away.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's that time spent that's so valuable,
Oh,
and
it's
letting
so
go is so
important.
horrible. But I don't know. I think, oh my goodness, I don't know. The more I kept the baby with me, the worse it would be for me to let go. So I don't know. It's a torturous thing.
It is. It is.
But back in comparison,
Yes, back in the day.
so nearly 50 years ago, I know a woman who gave birth to a stillborn, full-term child, who has shared their story with me in detail. They were not allowed to hold the child. They were not aware that the child was going to be stillborn, a boy as well, a big boy, nearly 10 pounds. They were given a glimpse of the child, the mother, just a brief glimpse. The father was not there. The father was at work. So, you know, not allowed to hold that baby, not allowed to really explore, look, see what happened. It was just your baby's dead.
Like it
and
never
that's
existed.
it. Yep.
This child
Yep.
never existed.
Exactly.
After you go through all of that, planning and carrying and hoping and delivering.
Nursery's ready.
The child's basically taken from you.
Yes, yeah, just wheeled by with a little glance, like pause for a few seconds so you can look at him, and then he's gone. You know, definitely no cuddle cot, nobody,
Memory
no social
box.
worker, no memory box,
No.
nothing. So that was 1970
Right.
that had occurred. That woman was also put in a ward with 3 other women whose children were alive
And had successful births.
had successful births, and every time those children were brought to the 3 other mothers to be fed, they were all bottle fed. The other lady was made to leave the room and go for a walk, was not allowed to be in the room while the mothers were feeding their babies. And so apparently there wasn't much else to do except go to the nursery and look at the other babies that were in the nursery. So that's how this person was treated here in Miramichi in 1970. So then fast forward now, you know, nearly 50 years later, 2006, Miramichi did not have memory boxes or cuddle cots, or you would be allowed to hold your baby. I know of one instance where the mother would have liked to have taken pictures of their child, but they were told the pictures would not turn out, so they weren't allowed to take pictures of their baby.
Wow.
So that's not very long ago. But now come to 2018, and we have memory boxes. We have a cuddle cot. Fredericton doesn't even have a cuddle cot. Sarah is working on raising money to purchase one for Fredericton.
Oh, wow.
We have come leaps and bounds, and the nurses here in Miramichi receive sensitivity training during their orientation with regards to pregnancy and infant loss.
For that. So important to be well, you know, practiced in that and what to do with. I mean, they're human beings too, and 9 times out of 10 they may have had a baby, or they may have lost a baby. So they're women who have perhaps, like I said, been either one or the other.
And they'll share their stories with you. You know, they'll sit right down with you.
My experience at the Miramichi Hospital with the nursing staff was wonderful.
Good.
They were wonderful.
Good.
There are women there that I will never ever forget because they were so wonderful to me.
Yeah. Well, moving on to support groups and things like that. Now, when I had my experiences, it would have been in the early 90s, and I don't ever remember someone calling or checking on me to see how I was doing, or even giving me any information on to contact someone if I was feeling a certain way or anything else like that. Nothing.
And you'd be so depressed. It's so depressing.
No, that's just it. I literally had to deal with all of my thoughts and feelings of what did I do wrong, and going through what did I eat, what did I do, what did I, you know, you really do.
You bear the guilt, really. You truly feel that you did something wrong, even though it's nothing you did.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you want an answer too, right?
Yes,
you want to know why.
Why?
Yeah,
exactly.
You're always
I didn't
searching.
even get the chance to know whether they were boys or girls. They did nothing like that for me. I know they know, but that was never. No, it was never ever divulged to me or whatever. I know nothing, absolutely nothing. But nowadays, the support groups, I'm assuming.
There is actually no support group in Miramichi.
Oh, you're kidding.
There is a bereavement, like a grief support group, just in general. But there's nothing specifically for pregnancy or infant loss.
Wow.
There was one briefly for about 2 years, a decade ago. At the time that I was losing my children, there was an unusual amount of women all losing babies at the same time.
Okay.
So we had formed a group. But we all went on to have what are called rainbow babies. So a rainbow baby is a baby that is born after you have an angel baby. So it's kind of like the rainbow at the end of the storm.
Right.
So we all got very busy. It was a good thing, but the group fell apart because we couldn't maintain it. So unfortunately, at this time, there is nothing.
No.
How, okay, so I have friends that have lost children that are older, that have been 18, even 14.
That's what I was going to go
and,
with.
And they're still, they'll never get over that as long as they live, the loss. And they'll grieve that child or whomever they've lost, a baby or a toddler or up and, past the age of,
when a parent
20.
loses a child at any age.
It's a forever loss, and it's a part of your heart. Yep. How long did it physically take you to cope with the loss as far as the raw grievance went? Like the raw pain of being in bed crying and feeling tortured and lost, like before you could actually get back to what you would call normal functioning? How many months? How many, whatever, how long before you could even get out in public again and feel like a human person that could move on?
For me, going out in public was terrifying. I went back to work after my 3-month maternity leave because I felt I was ready. I cried every day for 5 months, every single day.
Every single day,
every single day.
5 months, even though you're back to work and trying to fit into the normal scheme.
Yeah, and the pain never goes away, the loss never goes away, but the time it takes to recuperate from those sobbing sessions are longer and more, they don't take as long now. I don't cry as often.
Right.
And when I do cry, it still feels just like yesterday, but it maybe only will last for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Then I can go on
Your
with my
recovery
day.
from it is quicker.
And something would trigger that, either the birthday or a baby that's named after another Samuel's being born or another joyful experience that you say.
Commercial, diaper aisle. And
exactly.
Shoppers, anything.
You don't know when it's going to happen.
Never.
No.
Never.
I would think Melanie, with a 3-year-old at home,
I know.
you probably didn't have a whole lot of time. She would have been pretty busy.
Yes, exactly.
busy.
So I've said to Sarah and I've said to other mothers who didn't have that other child at home, I don't know how I would have gotten through it without her.
Exactly.
Without my family, without my friends and my husband, but especially her, because they take so much time and energy. So you're occupied. Your brain is occupied.
You're busy.
Yes.
But you
when she
divorce
wasn't
yourself.
around,
Like to get up and get dressed and get out. You divorce yourself totally.
And we've talked about this too. I had a horrible fear of being alone.
Yes.
I did not like being alone. There were a couple times my husband thought he was doing me a favor, take her to the park, give me some time by myself. I hated being alone. I was terrified to be alone. I preferred to have people around me. Yeah. And so keep that in mind, because we said it is a horrible feeling of isolation, because you were saying sometimes people just don't want to talk about it, and that's fine if they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, they push it aside because they can't cope with the thought of the loss and the baby being taken or gone.
But sometimes people think you don't want to talk about it, and they avoid you, or they don't call you, or they're staying away, when really you desperately don't want to be alone. You're feeling more lonely than you've ever felt in your life because you were used to having that little body inside of yours, moving, and now you're literally empty physically, emotionally, and you want people. Well, I did anyway.
It's so important to if you know somebody that's grieving the loss of a child, to say their name and talk to them about their child, because you cannot possibly make them any more sadder than what they are.
Okay.
Do you know
Because I
what
would not know where to go with that. I don't know how I would broach that subject and not maybe traumatize you even further. You might want that comfort of talking about the child, but I would be maybe fearful of you reacting in a very, oh my gosh, please don't go there kind of a way.
Yes.
No, exactly, and that's totally understandable.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You don't know what to do or what to say. You're afraid of stepping on someone's feelings.
No,
but
exactly.
All you can say is, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that you lost your baby. And just be kind of like with the child, being upfront and honest and brief. You can do the same thing as an adult too. You know, I am very sorry that you lost your baby. I heard you named him Samuel. Sammy, what a beautiful name.
Yeah, I can remember my mother when they had brought me to the hospital that time, because she was with me when we thought it was all going so well, and she remembers thinking that it was going to be fine, that I was actually having twins, and it was just one that was, and then the other one was going to be fine, but that wasn't the case. And then after it was all said and done, and she came to me in the hospital, and I can remember her saying, and I don't forget, she was like, well, there must have been something wrong. There must have been, you know what I mean? And that this is better. It's better this way than what it would have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
How
Right?
did
And
you
that
take that?
I actually didn't, that actually helped me go, oh, because I hadn't thought of that. Right? That wasn't something that I had thought, right, before.
That is something that has been said to me before as well, that in my case with my children, it was quite surprising that I didn't have an early miscarriage because of the syndrome that they had. A lot of times babies don't make it very far with that syndrome, and that they do terminate early on in the pregnancy. You wouldn't even know that they had the syndrome.
No,
apparently that is the case. And it, you know,
that
I can
was
see that it would bring some
I felt like
comfort.
that helped me get through it somewhat.
Exactly.
That there must have been something severely wrong, or, you know what I mean, and that if I had carried the child to term, that I would have had a child that required...
Was unhealthy or...
Exactly, that's just it. So, you know, I found that helped me at that time to get through that.
People will want to talk to you. I'm sure after this show they want to contact you. They may have walked this horrible journey or want comfort, like you've gotten comfort from these boxes.
We only have a minute left, so if you can just share with us your contact information, that would be great.
Okay. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, feel free on Facebook. You can find me under Sarah Shared.
SHERRARD, right up on the screen. And Facebook.com.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And same with me. You can find me on Facebook as well, Melanie Maltby Ingersoll, with 2 L's. So 2 L's there, no big deal.
No.
And as well, the hospital
binder.
does have a resource binder that was created when our little support group existed a decade ago. They still have it. And hopefully Sarah will add her story to that binder
Thanks
as well.
so much for joining us today, ladies.
Great job you did talking about all this.
Yes.
It's huge.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week.
Have
from
a
all
great
of us
week.
here at Have a Chat.